What's going on, guys? Alex here with TFL Car. I'm here in Long Beach, California with the all-new 2022 Honda Civic. That's right, I'm gonna give you a first look around this brand new 11th gen Civic in this video. Let's take a look. So here it is, guys, the 2022 Honda Civic. This one is in sedan form, but in this video I'm going to give you a full walk around, show you every little detail I possibly can, and give you all the information Honda has loaded me up with on this new Civic. So first things first, I'll just let it kind of spin around here and give you just a general look at this brand new design. This is the 11th gen Civic. The first generation Civic came out in 1972 as a 1973 model year. And since then, there's been many Civics. The current one is the 10th generation Civic, which was unveiled in September 2015 as a 2016 model year. And a few years later, here is the all-new one, which will be going on sale in the spring of 2021. Late spring 2021 as a 2022 model. This new one is a little bit more refined than that 10th generation Civic. If you knew the 10th generation Civic, which I'm sure most of you do, you probably know that it is a pretty polarizing design. When that first came out, people had a lot of thoughts on it, and this one kind of simplifies things a little bit. Still is going to appeal to the young crowd, as the Civic usually does. But this one is just cleaned up a little bit, a little more sleek, a little more sophisticated, and I'm definitely a big fan of that. I just want to walk you through some of the little details I'm noticing as I get up close and personal. First thing is this lower portion of the grille here. Kind of has these half honeycombs in it, and I like that. I think it'll probably match pretty well with the honeycomb design on the interior. Here you can get an idea for what the taillight looks like when it is on. So it's made up of these different lines. There's kind of 3 of them down here that go out into the point and then keep coming across all the way here and kind of come down to a single point over on this side. You can see the side skirt, which is kind of embedded into the lower portion of the vehicle. I think that looks pretty good, done in that piano black. A little bit of a weird detail up here. You can see these kind of arrow fins on the bottom portion of the mirror mount. And then up here, I really like how the window trim is done. It's not this really shiny chrome. It's also not gloss black. It appears to be kind of a darkened chrome, and I think that looks really, really cool. Just like the Accord, you don't have weather stripping up on the roof. It's just kind of one solid piece, so it gives it a really clean and well put together design. The one thing I do want you guys to keep in mind while I take you for a little walk around of this all-new Civic is that this is a prototype, and while this should really closely resemble what the production Civic is going to look like, things can change and there might be some small differences, but hopefully not too many, because I'm liking the look of this new Civic. Just taking a general look at the new 11th gen Civic, you can see what I mean by more of a clean, sophisticated design, but still appealing to a younger crowd. So a little bit less of those angular shapes and lines. It's a little more smoothed out, a little more refined. I think a lot of Civic owners and shoppers will be a big fan of that. Let's be honest, some people who were really interested in the Civic as they were growing up are getting older now and maybe don't want that crazy sporty design. They still want sport, they still want it to look youthful, but they don't want it to be crazy, and I think this Civic does a good job of that. But I still think it remains youthful with all this, piano black, glossy black trim everywhere. It's a really young looking car still. So many cars today have really huge grills up front, and the Civic kind of takes a different approach to that. This is a pretty narrow grill up here, which just helps the car look a little more sporty. It feels lower to the ground that way. and just feels like it's ready to go take on some curvy roads versus some of the other sedans on the market that have a much bigger, more macho grille up front. Just makes the car look a little taller. This with the skinny grille definitely makes the front of the car look lower to the ground and a little bit more sporty. These wheels are really cool. From a distance, they look matte black, but as you get closer to them, they are matte black, but they're kind of painted on the outer edges here in a dark gray. So it gives it a little bit of contrast and makes it feel a little bit more premium. One of the things definitely in prototype form is this color, this really cool orange, which they call Solar Flare Pearl. I really like this color. It's got tons of metallic in it. And they say that this color may or may not be coming to the final production model. And if not, it should be something pretty similar, but I really, really love this color. All right, let's take a look at the rear end of the Civic. Like I said, this happens to be in sedan form, but Honda has confirmed a hatchback. They've confirmed an SI and a Type R, so we will be getting all of those later down the line. This one that we're looking at happens to be a sedan, but we can still look at all the design features of it. You'd probably know the Civic from the spoiler on the back. At least the 11th gen was kind of an add-on piece that was mounted up to the back end of the car. This still kind of has a functional aero spoiler on there, but it's integrated into the bodywork. No longer is that kind of an additional piece that sits on the back. The taillights have been really redesigned. 10th generation Civic uses that kind of clamp style that I'm sure you're familiar with. These are a little bit more classic sedan, but I definitely like the look of them. These kind of have a smoked lens here, and I hope that makes it to production. We'll see what happens. You can see these twin exhaust pipes out at the back, kind of with this oval shape. It looks like the tips are black, and they're kind of surrounded in this piano black trim right there. So still looks sporty, but definitely looks more clean cut, more sophisticated, and like it's ready for a little bit more business. You can still take it up in the mountains, carve canyons, really have fun pushing the limits of the car and driving in a really aggressive, sporty manner, but then, you know, it doesn't look too wild to go on a business meeting or something with it. It can do everything. All right, now I can't get in the interior of this new Civic, but I do have this rendering that I can show you, which should be a pretty accurate representation of what the new Civic looks like on the inside. The first thing I noticed about this is how clean and simple it is. I love this new interior design. Hopefully it looks just like this, which Honda tells me it should, but I really just like how simple it is. So you have this one line going across the dash with this really cool honeycomb accent to it. That's where your air vents are gonna hide, so not only is it a pretty cool accent, makes it look a little bit sporty with that honeycomb, but it also tucks away the air vents and makes them kind of invisible. Up front in the center, you have an all-new 9-inch touchscreen up there. That's going to be for controlling your radio, your media, navigation, all that kind of stuff. And in front of the driver, you have an all-new cluster. It's all digital. First time the Civic gets a digital cluster, 10.2 inches. Also, your climate controls really cleanly integrated into the center of the dash there. You still have a traditional shifter, which I'm a big fan of, so it doesn't look like we're going to get a push button transmission or anything like that. 2 cup holders, looks like maybe a little storage bin up in the front. I wish I could sit in this new Civic right now because this interior looks really cool. Unfortunately, all I have right now is the rendering, but as we get closer to when this 11th gen Civic goes on sale, we will be getting inside of one, taking it for a drive and giving you a full in-depth tour of the interior. But for now, from what I can see, looks really clean, and I'm really excited to get inside of one of these. This 11th gen Civic does not use an all-new platform. They are using a modified version of the 10th generation platform that we've been driving around for the past couple of years. So they have been making improvements to it, which is always good to see. That 10th generation Civic is pretty solid, but always good to see that they're making improvements. Honda says that this new 11th gen platform will be more rigid than the 10th generation platform and should also hold up better in a crash. Honda's always been big on safety, and it's good to see that they're still making improvements improvements in that category. Honda says this new 11th gen Civic will introduce multiple new active and passive safety systems. That includes an upgraded suite of the Honda safety sensing technology. Honda also says that this new Civic will get new airbag designs and an advanced new version of Honda's advanced compatibility engineering body structure, which should provide improved occupant and pedestrian collision protection. This new Civic does look big, there's no doubt about that, but Honda says that it's actually no wider than the current 10th generation Civic, although it does look like it. Dimensionally, it's pretty much the exact same width. They did have to widen the rear track just a little bit by about 12 millimeters. The wheelbase has also been extended by about an inch, and that gives rear seat passengers a little bit more space, should be a little bit more comfortable back there now. And the seats are reclined a little bit further than the outgoing 10th generation Civic. As far as length goes, this 11th gen Civic is about an inch longer than the 10th generation Civic. They actually shortened up this rear overhang here and extended the front overhang just to give it a little bit more of that sports car stance. I always thought the 10th generation Civic was a pretty easy car to drive, but this 11th gen Civic should be even easier thanks to improved visibility. So Honda actually moved the A-pillar rearward about 2 inches. That should improve the visibility out of the windshield. They also moved where the mirrors are mounted, so they moved them to the door. They used to be up here just behind the A-pillar, and that should give improved visibility kind of out of the side window here. Additionally, they kind of dropped this line down by about an inch right there, so that should give more visibility when you're looking over your shoulder to change lanes. So all in all, Honda's really trying to improve the visibility in the Civic, which is always a good thing. Easier to see out of means easier to drive. The roof is at the exact same height, and the front of the hood is also at the exact same height. They did drop the back end of the hood down by about an inch, and what that does is leads to more visibility out the windshield, sticking along with that theme, and also makes the wheels look a little bit bigger. There's less kind of body panels up here in this area, helps make the wheel a little bit bigger. That's a big 19-inch wheel on a compact sedan. Looks pretty good. And yeah, just overall, much more sophisticated. I know I keep saying that, but Honda really went away from the angular, sporty, kind of boy racer look of the 10th generation Civic and took it to a different level. They needed to keep things fresh. You can't keep selling cars when they stay the same for too long, so Honda needed to make a change, and I think this is a welcome change. I think it's a really good one. I'm really digging the new look of this 11th gen Civic, especially in this orange color. I'm a sucker for orange cars, especially when they have gloss black trim on them, so maybe that's playing into it a little bit. But I really do like the look of the new Civic. It's clean, it's sophisticated, and I think if you're, a working professional and you want to have one car that you can drive to business meetings and also drive around on some sporty roads and have a lot of fun doing it, this could be a really good option. So there you have it, guys, a full in-depth tour and walk around of the 2022 Honda Civic, the 11th generation Civic. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below on this new design. Unfortunately, this is just a design video. I don't have pricing information or what the engines are going to be or if there's a manual transmission available. Nothing like that quite yet, just showing you the design here in this video. So let me know your thoughts on the new look of the new Civic down in the comments below. Are you going to miss the super angular, aggressive 10th generation Civic, or do you like that they tamed it a little bit down with this new 11th gen? Curious to hear your thoughts on that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to go on over to tflcar.com for the latest and greatest in automotive news and reviews. Catch you in the next one.